It's Fans for Life. I know I just started a video a little while ago and I stopped just because it was just agonizing. Because here's the deal. People are talking about the AEW. I'm talking about the wrestling fans out there. And I'm talking about also the people who are in the wrestling business. You're putting a lot of stock into this AEW thing being something big and huge, and it's going to be impactful. It's going to put the WWE out. And you're telling guys who are leaving the WWE they should go to AEW and that's where they should go. That's the automatic answer. I want to remind you guys, well, you're going to tell them to go to AEW, then you're telling them not to go to, say, like Ring of Honor, where they have an active TV deal right now. And you're also telling them not to go to, say, Impact Wrestling, which also has an active TV deal right now. You want those guys who are leaving the WWE because of problems with, they're not liking how they're being used or what they're doing. But then rather than step up their game and whatnot, or work with the thing and make believers out of them, they're going to leave and go somewhere else where they think they're going to do something better. Now, the ringleader of this whole thing now, the people who kind of started this, the three key ingredients to this, all right? I want to bring you up to speed. Three components, right? The three wrestlers who are like the executive vice presidents of AEW is Cody Runnels because he can't use Rhodes because that's copyrighted by the WWE. That's why he's just Cody right now. And the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson. Those are the guys who are the three executive presidents and whatnot. And then the funder, the person who's giving them the money, is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is an NFL football team. And also the owner of a England-based soccer team. I want to let you guys know something. First of all, you guys are thinking this is a threat to the wrestling world, right? I want to recommend you a couple things. One, a couple things actually come to key that you guys have kind of forgetting about maybe, or maybe you just are ignorant to the facts. Here's the facts. Cody Rhodes in 2018 signed a multi-year deal with Ring of Honor, stating that he was going to be there for a while, signed a multi-year deal with Ring of Honor in 2018. But after losing the titles, him along with their Young Bucks lost all their titles, what did they do? Well, no, Ring of Honor violated their contracts, bought out of their contracts, and they went to AEW in 2019. Last I checked, a multi-year deal would mean more than 1 year. So I don't know how this multi-year deal works, but as far as I can see from where I'm standing, a multi-year deal would mean more than one. And as far as I'm concerned, although he's done some appearances in Ring of Honor, once he signed the multi-year deal in last summer of 18, and he lost his last match in November of 18, and the next day he left, along with the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson, they all left, okay? Cody was signed to a multi-year deal. He's no longer has a multi-year deal because maybe he didn't like the fact that he lost all of his titles, and this is when we're now in 2019, the beginning of it. Now he's doing AEW. He announced AEW the beginning of January, and this last match in Ring of Honor was in November. So if you folks did the math correctly, that means he had about a month to kind of orchestrate and get together the whole AEW plan. Now, the funder, the person with the money, is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, like I said. And they also own a soccer team over in England as well. Now, for those fans out there who are football fans, I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars may be an NFL team. But, I mean, are they really a relevant NFL team? Are they a successful NFL team? Now, if you're going to tell me that this guy, the owners or whatever, are smart businessmen or whatever, well, what do you get to prove for that? Because last I checked, when was the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars won the Super Bowl? When was the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars made it to the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl is the biggest game in football. Now, I'm not being a wise ass, but I don't really have time to watch everything else in the world. I'm not a big football fan myself, but in preparing, I can tell you that I haven't seen the Jacksonville Jaguars being relevant for quite some time. And their soccer team over in England, they're like ranked number 15 out of 20. and they're not even in, and it's a world league, ladies and gentlemen. And David Beckham isn't on it, so there you go. Here's some other things. All the fans out there, you guys are telling guys who are unhappy with what the WWE is doing with them. And they're unhappy, and they don't like how they're being used. So you're telling them to go to AEW. AEW currently, it is now February where I am making this video. They currently do not have a TV deal. Their next show as this All Elite show is actually set for May. So you're expecting guys to leave the WWE and go for a company who's got one show lined up in May. No TV deal whatsoever. And that's what you guys want other guys to do. They don't want to stop. Meanwhile, I want to remind you guys of something. You may or may not know this. This is the unflattering part of wrestling. But it is a fact. And actually, Cody knows this, as do the Young Bucks and other people who are on the circuit. Sometimes a bigger name can actually do really well on the independent, smaller circuit than they can if they go to a big company or a TV deal or something of that nature. Because you see, once they sign their name to a contract that locks them into one company, then they're kind of stuck to that company. But if you go out there and you work the circuit, so to speak, and you work all the independent shows all over the place, wherever you want, you can actually make some really good money doing so. Cody Rhodes will do that. Cody Runnels. That's his actual real name, and that's actually who he is. So he is actually an individual who knows that success on the circuit. Now, the other part is they have a really big name. They got Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho has been very vocal and very really batting home the message that this is the new movement and this is a great thing and they're a viable thing. And they're using Chris Jericho as kind of a carrot to the other people around the world. Other wrestlers say, hey, we're legit. We got this big name and this is the deal. But here's the deal. Chris Jericho, his contract with AEW says that he can go and make other appearances all over the place. But to my understanding of what AEW is changing things for, now here's the thing that I'm confused about. Maybe you guys can enlighten me. See, the whole idea of AEW is supposed to be a employee-based thing. Everyone's going to have equal pay. Men and women are going to be equally paid on the roster and also equally shown and all these other things, equal opportunities, and they're employees, not independent contractors like the WWE guys, right? So let me tell you a couple things about that. They're going to be a real company, and they're going to do a real thing, and even the Jacksonville Jaguars owners have said they're going union. Now, you guys who are wrestling fans, whether you know it or not, or actually people in general, if you know anything about a union, you know that not only do you have to pay in dues to that union that you normally wouldn't have to right now, as the way it is right now. But on top of that, you actually have to go with whatever the union says. You got to go to union guidelines. What that also means is you can't break the union code. So guys like Cody and the Young Bucks, or Chris Jericho even, it may very well be that you might have in your contract you can go all of these other places. However, once you become an employee by AEW, and the terminology in your contract, and by what you're trying to do with your whole, we're going to make this a legit thing, your employees, and make it a unionized thing, let me tell you what you're going to do to yourself. You're shooting yourselves in the foot because you can't go and book outside of the union. It's kind of like when you're acting, right? Or in the movie making business. If you have to go to Hollywood or whatever, you got to use someone who is a notoriety individual and an actor who is actually, what they call unionized, then you actually have to abide by those unionized dues and the rules and the guidelines. You know what that means? That means basically, if I'm making a movie and I book, so-and-so who's unionized, right? Now I have to pay him extra than I would pay someone who I don't have to necessarily. And on top of that, he has to have his own separate green room and he has to have all these other things. And if we don't agree to that, me, the small guy, don't agree to that, the union says you can't do that show. That's the rule guidelines, ladies and gentlemen. And that's how a union works. So, guys like Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Jericho, and all these guys who want to make their big money, we're going to pay big money, all right, but you're going to pay the majority of it into the shareholders and pay into the union fees that you're going to be paying into this. The other thing I want to say is wrestling, right? There's no union currently in the WWE, which people have been pushing for years. And sometimes what fans don't understand is things happen, and wrestlers too. You got to look at the whole big picture before you jump down the thing and see what's really good and what's not. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, the union decides, I don't think you're making enough money. And they say, we're going on strike. You guys see the headlines in the news, and you see it all the time. Some company goes on strike, and it affects hundreds and thousands of jobs. Well, now guess what? Let's say, for the sake of argument, AEW kicks up, and someone says on AEW, listen, I don't want this, I want better money, better this, that, and the other thing, and they hold up their contract. Well, now, guess what? Now AEW's on strike. For the first time, you got a wrestling company, wrestlers on strike. That means there's no shows, no nothing, because the wrestlers quit. The wrestlers stop wrestling until the owners, which is the Jaguars, Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks, who are all the management guys, give them what they want. That's crazy, people. That's insane. There's reasons why there's things going on in wrestling. There's reasons why these things are in place. The forefathers of the wrestling world are rolling over in their grave by people like Cody Runnels and these guys thinking this is a good idea, this is what we need. So I want to give you some backstories on Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. Did you know that the Young Bucks actually Matt had his own wrestling company at one time? It folded. It's not around anymore because he got a better offer somewhere else to work for somebody else. And Cody Rhodes, that I just explained to you, back in 2018, last summer, he signed a multi-year deal with Ring of Honor for a multi-year deal. And well, now it is now 2019. He is no longer part of that deal. He's now on to something else. Is that really someone you can trust? Is that really someone you really want running your company? A guy that, well, something better came along, I'm going to go there. How do you guys know you can rely on someone like that? When you have one guy, a couple guys who have failed at running their own promotion, and another guy who sold out on a great promotion or could have had a great career in Ring of Honor, build up, but no, spit in their face, go do his own thing, right? So let me ask you this. Everyone's going to have equal pay and everyone's going to be equal pay scale. So does that mean that, Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks make the same as, say, Chris Jericho and the other guys you're bringing in? Is that means? Let me know what you guys think. Comments below. Thank you.